your weekly view of young leaders taking big steps. This is Next Gen. Presented by PFI, home of Boo Daddy. So I finally get to bring you to my alma mater, Mount Vernon, and more specifically, the Mount Vernon Ag Department, where I spent many, many hours. Let's go meet Mr. Shepard and see what his Ag Structures class is doing.
This will be my 20th year teaching. I started out at Richland, Missouri, where I taught 2 years, and then I got to move back to Lawrence County, where I grew up in Aurora and taught at Miller for 14 years, and then had the opportunity to move to Mount Vernon, where this is my 4th year teaching here.
Well, I know that Mount Vernon is proud to have you here, and as an alumni, I definitely am proud to see you expanding the program and taking it to that next step. Would I be lying to say that your Ag Shop is your favorite class to teach?
Yes, this is my favorite class. I really enjoy teaching the shop. It's one of the things that I've always enjoyed doing, and I think one of the things that it does for students, while we have multiple classes that kind of utilize the shop, construction is one where we build a lot of projects and that sort of thing. Students learn they learn the value of work ethic first and foremost, I think is important. And then they also learn some real world skills they can have forever. Sure, we learn how to weld, but I think one of the more important things that we learn how to do is how to think and how to reason and how to build things and how to do them correctly and think about how you're building something. And there's a lot of things that kids maybe haven't thought about in their educational career in that manner.
Well, I remember learning how to weld in my Ag 1 class and taking that a little further when I was in the classroom myself teaching, but nothing to the extent that of the projects we're seeing out there. Take me through some of those and how these projects come to be.
So yes, we do try to get most of our students in Ag Science 1 to experience welding, while our shop's not big enough to do that all the time. Because we have a lot of projects like you saw out there, many of our projects are things that I always give students the option first. If they're in my class, whatever they want to build and can afford, let's do it. And otherwise, we have members from the community that we build projects for. And we do that because we have a reputation of doing a good quality job, and we make sure that whatever we roll out is something that the customer's pleased with. And so we have students that we're building right now a gooseneck flatbed trailer for a dairy farmer. We've got another student building a small utility trailer. We're building a tandem flatbed trailer for actually a former student of mine that's also built projects before. And then we've got students building a calf catcher, going on UTVs, some man lifts for skid steers. And then one of the neater things that we have is we have a couple of tractors that we're redoing. One's owned by a student and his grandpa. He's trying to redo it for his grandpa. And then one that was donated by a former FFA member, a tractor that we are trying to get back to using and keep it for the chapter. And then also have a couple of students that built an animal science lab out back that really impressive. If it wasn't for them and the skill they have and the work ethic they have, there's no way it would have been done in 10 minutes.
So maybe one of the newest, coolest tools that your students are able to get their hands on is that plasma cutter.
Yes, one of the new things that we wanted to do was to buy a computer-aided plasma cutter that we weren't the first to have it, but it's one of those that we felt like we need to teach skills at, because in the industry, those kinds of tools are being used all the time. In fact, there's just an industry right across the road here that's using that very same piece of equipment, and we wanted to give students those skills. So what we're doing is we kind of started a sign making business to make a little extra money, but also the real reason we bought it is that we can make our own trailer parts when we need to, and we're custom fabricating projects out there, and that's one of the reasons that we bought it.
So these students are not just learning the hands-on application and building these projects, but they're learning how to run a business, making plans, doing the research, and buying the supplies.
Sure. One thing that we always do at the beginning of the school year after we do kind of our skill welds and we kind of figure out what it is that the students want to build is I'll have them actually estimate the bill of materials that they want to do, and I have them get on websites, actually call the suppliers and get the prices themselves and kind of estimate what it is. Then we talk with either their parents or the person that's buying the project, make sure that that estimate's going to work for them as we build it. So they're learning a lot of things in terms of communication. They got to communicate with the suppliers. They also need to communicate with whoever's buying it and see if that's workable for them, and all the other things about running a business of high quality products are important in making a business successful. That's one of the things I think this class is so important, because we're teaching real hands-on skills. And so many times in our education, we sometimes leave those hands-on skills behind because it's a lot harder to teach that. It takes a lot more money, but I think one of the things that we're doing in ag education that's so important is we are teaching skills in the shop, and I think that's one of the best things that we can teach is some of those hands-on skills that they can use forever. They may not be a welder, but we teach a lot of things in terms of electricity, plumbing, that everyone's going to be a homeowner or even rent, that they're going to have to learn how to fix things in their house. And so those are things that I think are important that we teach.
So, Mr. Shepard, take me through your students. I know that you have a diverse group of young men and women out there.
We do. We have a lot of great kids, and we always say we're in the market for good kids, and we do have a lot of good ones. And many of our students are rural students, and many of them are close to the farm, many of them live on a farm, but all these students, I believe, the things that they're learning out here, I think will be super beneficial for their entire life. I really feel like maybe they're not all going to be welders, but they all are going to be problem solvers.
So just as Mr. Shepard said, these students are taking hands-on learning to the next level, but also learning problem-solving skills they will use for a lifetime.